Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is brought to you by Bank One, Infinity, Pepsi Cola, Miller Lite, America West Airlines, Blimpie Subs and Salads, Little Caesars Pizza, and by Nissan. Well, we're back at Bank One Ballpark, downtown Phoenix. Beautiful night here in the Valley of the Sun, and another huge crowd on hand. The Diamondbacks opening this homestand against the Cubs and 2 against Milwaukee. 4 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Jim Riggleman brings his team to town, 2 over 500, our U.S. West starting lineup. Manny Alexander at second with Matt Mieske in left field. Mark Grace is at first. Sammy Sosa in right, Jose Hernandez at short, Kevin Orie, the struggling third baseman. Brant Brown off to a great start in center field, Scott Service catching, and Kerry Wood is on the mound. And our AutoZone pitching report coming off a good outing in New York. Diamondback left-hander Brian Anderson.
See Brian's numbers on the season. The big problem he's had when he's had problems is giving up the long ball, especially to right-handed hitters. 9 of the 10 home runs he's allowed coming against right-handed hitters. And he continues to show excellent control. We've compared him at times, which is not fair, but we've compared him at times to Tom Glavine. Very similar style, though he hasn't had quite the success Tom Glavine has, but very similar style. Sinkers away, change-ups away from the right-handed hitters, an occasional breaking ball to the lefties.
Well, we'll see if Brian Anderson can feature the same kind of stuff he had at Shea Stadium his last outing. He rebounded from a trio of miserable starts in which he gave up 13 earned runs in 15 innings. But then he went 6 1/3, allowing 4 hits and 1 run. That was a solo home run by the former Cub Brian McRae in the 4th inning. Walked 1, fanned 8, and left with a 2-1 lead. Manny Alexander to lead it off. He looks at a strike. And we're underway at Bank One Ballpark in Phoenix. Crowd still rolling in here to this spectacular creation in the desert. Down and in, 1 ball and 1 strike to Alexander.
Any chance of rain tonight?
I don't think so. Left all that stuff where it belongs, back east. Into shallow center field, Devon White will get there, and Alexander retired to open the ball game. Our Little Caesars Pizza defense behind Brian Anderson. David DeLucci, Devon White, and Brent Brady left, center, and right. Matt Williams bothered with a bad thumb after catching a line drive on it yesterday. So Andy Fox at third, Bell at short, Batista at second, Lee at first with a battery of Brian Anderson and George Fabregas. 1 away, and here's Matt Mieske, former Milwaukee Brewer, and he lines one hard into left field, but right at DeLucci, and very quickly 2 men gone in the Cubs' first inning. Bobby, the Cubs have made a lot of changes to this ball club. They're spending upwards of $40 million on payroll. They think they have a legitimate chance to win the Central Division after a horrific year in '97.
Well, based on the start they've had this year, there is reason for optimism. But a lot of people close to the game wonder if the Cubs didn't pick up some guys perhaps after their best years were gone. Henry Rodriguez maybe going on the downside of his career. Rod Beck doesn't throw nearly as hard as he did in his days with the Giants. Jeff Blauser off to a slow start this year, and some people think that maybe they got these guys a year too late.
Well, here's one guy we know will be there when all is said and done, Mark Grace. .316 batting average, 19 runs batted in, a 3-time National League All-Star. And he can hit. He puts a charge into one, deep right field, down the line, his first home run of the year. As you would expect, a lot of Cub fans in attendance here tonight. They've trained here forever. We're on TV, a superstation for many, many years. And they have many followers in this area.
Throughout his career, Grace has been known as basically an opposite field line drive hitter. But if you try to come inside, you better make sure you have something on it. Mark Grace doesn't normally try to yank the ball like this, but Brian Anderson made a mistake right there to a good hitter, and a good hitter made him pay. He likes this ballpark.
He likes it a lot. I had a chance to give Mark a little mini tour before the ball game today. I was walking up just outside the stadium as he was getting dropped off. And he had a little time to kill, so we walked around and I showed him some of the sights of Bank One ballpark. He really got a kick out of it. Maybe I shouldn't have taken him around.
Yeah, make him feel real comfortable, Tom. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
I probably deserve it. I'll take the heat. See, that's among many other differences between a guy like you and a guy like me. I will stand up to the heat.
Oh, jeez. We're going to start this in the first inning. I suppose he's your guy, too.
Not tonight. Sammy Sosa has been the best Cub player over the last 7 years since coming over from the White Sox. And back then, a very controversial deal for George Bell. Bell had been signed as a huge free agent by the Cubs in the '91 season. But they traded Bell away and brought over Sosa. This one down the right field line. Brady is there, and that'll end the inning. But Grace plays long ball. And after a half inning, Chicago won. The Diamondbacks come to bat.
This might be a good time to talk about the Michelin X1. Thanks to Michelin technology, it gives you long mileage and better wet braking than any rain tire. And that should make everyone on a wet road happy.
Michelin and Discount Tire Company teaming up to bring you the best prices and largest selection in town.
Waiting for the plumber just became more fun.
I can be there around noon. Yes, and you know what? I'll call you later with the exact time.
I'll just wait by the phone, which will be at the mall.
Now you can take your home phone with you, including the same phone number, with new Access 2 Advanced PCS from US West.
It's looking more like 3 or 4.
What can I do?
Order Access 2 service now and get a PCS phone for as low as $24. US West. Life's better here.
Back at Bank One ballpark, a Mark Gray solo home run gives Chicago a 1-0 lead. Now the U.S. West lineup for Buck Showalter and the Diamondbacks. It'll be Devon White in center field, David DeLucci in left, Jay Bell at short. Travis at first, George Fabregas catching, Brent Brady in right. Andy Fox is at third in place of Matt Williams. Tony Batista at second, Brian Anderson on the mound. And our AutoZone pitching report on the heralded young Texan, Kerry Wood.
You see his numbers. The first bullet point is a given. He has an overpowering fastball. The best chance to get with him, to get to him rather, is to go after the first pitch. He likes to get ahead with a fastball. Some teams have had success going after that first pitch, and occasionally he will have control problems.
Well, you know the story by now on Kerry Wood, 20-year-old record breaker on the mound tonight for the Cubs. Last Wednesday, just his 5th major league start, he fanned 20 Astros in a complete game 2-0 victory at Wrigley Field. He allowed only 2 base runners in the game. An infield single by Ricky Gutierrez in the 3rd. He hit Craig Biggio with a pitch in the 6th. And we'll see what he has in store tonight. Strike 1 to Devo. White, among all the veterans, continues to have the best season for the Diamondbacks, sitting at .287. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 home runs, 12 batted in, 8 doubles on the year, and a triple. Two and one. One of the things Buck Showalter was quick to point out in the pregame interview today over on the radio side was, hey, nobody come to think now that Kerry Wood is unbeatable. I mean, Buck loves having this kind of kid in the game. He truly believes it's good for the game and that he will be a bright star, unquestionably. But he has lost twice this year with an ERA just under 4. Two and two now to Devon White.
He's in a rut. Every fastball he's thrown has been 96 miles an hour so far. He did throw 1 changeup at 83. Another thing when you talk about, we talked to Ron Sano, Steve Stone, some of the broadcasters for the Cubs. They said the thing about Wood that impresses you is it looks like he's got more left in his tank, like he could even throw harder. But you may have a hard time convincing Devon White of that right now.
Well, that one again at 96. That one looked like it had a little more giddy up to it. First strikeout for Wood.
If you've seen power pitchers like Randy Johnson or Nolan Ryan, you see that high fastball blown right by Devon White. There's a grunt at the end of their delivery. They're really putting a lot of effort into throwing that ball hard. Kerry Wood does not. He's very smooth, very deliberate with his windup, and the ball just seems to explode out of his hand.
David DeLucci lines one, slicing away from Niesky. Can't get it. DeLucci on his way to second base with a one-out double. Well, DeLucci's a rookie himself, and he's not going to be intimidated by Kerry Wood tonight.
When you look up and down this Diamondbacks lineup tonight, DeLucci is one guy that figures to possibly have success against Kerry Wood because he has a quick swing. He doesn't try to over the power of the ball. He's very good at going to the opposite field. Had thoughts of going to third base right there. But David DeLucci with that quick swing figures to make contact against the hard thrower.
Jay Bell now, and he looks at a fastball strike. Bell mired in a horrible slump. Just went 3 for 27 on the road trip. He was on base a great deal, walking 9 times, and was hitless in 4 at-bats yesterday. 1-0 ball game. Chicago in front. 1-1 now to Bell.
One weakness in Kerry Wood's game is the fact that he does not hold runners on base well, and he's very deliberate when throwing the ball to the plate. Of course, we know the Diamondbacks have not run the bases very much this season. They don't have great team speed, but that may be a weakness that they could exploit.
Another chink in the armor, if you will, for Kerry Wood. And you brought it up earlier, Bobby. He does tend to get wild. Now, he didn't walk anybody his last start, but in his first 18 innings in the major leagues, he had 12 walks. Line to Sosa in right. And DeLucci will not test the arm of Sammy Sosa. 2 down. Little Caesars Pizza defense behind Kerry Wood tonight. Niesky, Brant Brown having a great year in center. Sosa in right. Ori, Hernandez, Alexander, and Grace third to first. And a battery of Wood and Scott Service. So now Travis Lee. Here's a good battle inside the WAR. Kerry Wood, the heralded young right-hander. Travis Lee already off to a great start in his rookie season. And a breaking ball in there, a strike.
That was the curveball from Kerry Wood. You can see that ball went pretty much straight down towards the ground, what the old-timers used to call a drop ball. The slider's the one that's much flatter, more horizontal to the ground.
Another breaking ball. 0-2 now to Lee.
Man, oh man, that is not fair.
DeLucci at second base. Cubs leading 1-0. And a high bouncer over the mound. Alexander is there. And Grace has to pick it out of the dirt to retire the side. A hit, a man left, end of 1. 1-0 Chicago.
This is your wake-up call.
Circle K coffee, made from 100% Arabica beans. Fresh ground and fresh brewed every 30 minutes or less. So at Circle K, it's always fresh, 24 hours a day, guaranteed. Circle K coffee. No matter when you wake up, it's the freshest coffee going.
What's the one sure thing you can count on in Arizona? Great 99-cent deals at McDonald's all day, every day. For breakfast, get a 99-cent sausage McMuffin with egg sandwich. Fresh eggs, spicy sausage and cheese on a toasted English muffin. Or after breakfast, get a 99-cent triple cheeseburger. 3 beef patties, 2 slices of cheese, onions and pickles on a tasty bun. Great 99-cent deals all day, every day.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Lads, British man of war passing Skull Point. Prime the cannon.
Arr, I can see my room from here.
Let me show you my Vegas. Nice enough to light the whole place up for me. First time to Vegas? Yes. And you?
My third. My 44th trip.
Winner, winner, lobster dinner.
Tomatillo.
People are so excited.
Mine's a blue convertible.
And you, my lad, have to walk the plank.
No need to spit.
Anything, all the time. That's Las Vegas.
Where your pool or spa can be as sparkling clear as the one right here at Bank One Ballpark. Just ask your pool supply dealer for Sun Pool and Spa products, because Sun leads the league in quality and value. And remember, open swim nights tickets are available May 17th and 18th. They go on sale at 9 a.m. Saturday. That's this Saturday, the 16th. Only at the Bank One Ballpark box office. And to get the tickets, you have to show up at the ticket office wearing a bathing suit and some kind of pool accessory. And FYI, the line for that starts at 8 a.m. Saturday. So be there with swimming attire on.
And bring your floaties, a rubber ducky, some goggles, snorkels, nose plugs, anchors.
Anchors. Fouled away by Jose Hernandez to open the second inning. A ball and a strike to Hernandez. Hernandez, over the last year or two, Bobby, has turned into one of the more valuable players in all of baseball. He can hit, there's no question about that, and can play just about anywhere for you defensively. 2-1.
Well, tonight's a perfect example. He was originally in the starting lineup as the center fielder in this ball game. Jeff Blauser was a late scratch from the lineup at shortstop, so Hernandez moves in from center to short. Brant Brown takes over in center field. Got to have a guy like that on your team, somebody you can run out there at a variety of positions. Andy Fox pretty much fills that role with the Diamondbacks, but every team usually has one guy that the reason he's in the game is his versatility.
3-1 to Hernandez. In the air, deep right center field, and this ball will go to the wall. Hernandez on his way to second. He's turning and coming for third. Here's Bell's throw. Not in time. It hits Hernandez in the back, but just rolls slightly away from Fox, and Hernandez opens the inning with a triple.
The ball carried a long way off the bat of Jose Hernandez. Got a fastball down and out over the plate, and he's busting out of the batter's box. That's where you get a triple, coming out of the batter's box, not after you hit first base. Devo having a little trouble picking it up out there on the track, and Hernandez is off to the races. Got a break there. That ball hit right between the shoulder blades as Hernandez slid into third base. Many times that ball will deflect off into the dugout.
And this ball mashed to straightaway center field by Kevin Ory. Devon White watches it hit off the overhang. And in with an RBI double is Ory to give Chicago a 2-0 lead here in the second inning. That's the first time we've seen a ball carry and ricochet off the overhang area in straightaway center field. And under the ground rules, that is in the field of play.
It sounded like ringing a bell out there when that ball hit the facing. See Devo going back here. He thinks he might even have a play on this ball, but you see it hit right at the bottom of the overhang there. Tiger Stadium has an overhang similar to that in right field, where many times outfielders will feel they're camped underneath the ball to catch it, and the ball will drop into the upper deck for a home run.
Runner at second, nobody out, 2-0 Cub lead. And there's a rocket off the bat of Brown. They fire to double up the runner, nothing doing. One away.
Boy, Kevin Ory had been in a horrible slump coming into play tonight. We're going to get another look at the line out by Brant Brown. Low fastball. Left-handed hitters love those. Travis tries to double the runner off second base, but Ory back in plenty of time. I started to say Ory was mired in a terrible slump. 4 for his last 54, and only 14 balls hit to the outfield during the course of that slump. That ball made it to the outfield in a hurry.
In a hurry. So now the number 8 hitter, Scott Service, the batter, with 1 out, 1 in, 1 on, and the Cubs leading 2-0 here in the second inning. Service at 207, a pair of home runs and 8 batted in. Cubs have not been scoring many runs. That's why they're only 2 games over 500. And this is a team that's paying a lot of money to be a lot better than that. Corey leads at second base in a 2-0 to service. He is on the outside corner, knee high, a strike, says Charlie Relaford. Paul Schreiber, the umpire at first, had Montague at second, and Dana DeMuth is down at third. Two balls and a strike. And it's down and in, 3-1. Kerry Wood waits on deck. He hasn't swung the bat very well at the major league level yet, but during his minor league days, quite a hitter. 8 hits, 29 at bats, 3 doubles and 4 batted in. 3-1 delivery to service. Count is full. You notice tonight we will not have for you the entire game our box up in the upper left-hand corner to give you the count and the score of the game. In this world dominated by computers, it will never fail eventually that they will fail. Take that to the bank. We'll every now and then throw that up for you and doing the best we can, so we apologize and bear with us. Hit down the right field line away from Brady. Foul ball.
Look at the Cubs bullpen there in the background as Brent Brady tosses the foul ball over to him, and the closer for the Cubs, Rod Beck. Unlike a lot of closers in the National League, Rod Beck is one of the first guys down to the bullpen. In the days when Lee Smith was the closer for the Cubs, it wasn't unusual to see him mosey out there in the top of the 8th inning. It took him about a half an inning to get down there, but Jim Riggleman has said how much that means to the entire pitching staff, especially the relievers, to have the main guy down there from the beginning of the game.
This ball drilled into deep center field, but Devon White is there. And Ori retreats back to second, 2 away in the inning. Why do you think that means so much, Bobby?
Well, for one thing, Rod Beck is an experienced pitcher. He's been around the league a few years. He knows the strengths and weaknesses, especially of the tough hitters in the league. And he likes to get down there early and see who's swinging at what and how they're getting guys out early in the ball game, and hopefully impart some of that knowledge to the younger pitchers down there. And you know, especially when you bring in a guy from a new organization, sometimes they do things differently in other organizations, and the more you can learn about this game, the better off you're going to be.
So now Kerry Wood with 2 down and a runner at second hits a bullet over by his own dugout.
That's the kind of foul balls a lot of people have been getting against Kerry Wood. Swing late and line it into the dugout.
Runner at second base, 2 away, and the 0-1 to Wood is high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kerry Wood just drafted in 1995 in the first round. He was the 4th overall selection in the country that year. And they've been talking about him since the very first day they drafted him. And it's not like his minor league numbers have been overwhelming, because quite frankly they have not been. He's been very wild at the minor league level. Bear in mind, he did not make the Cub team coming out of spring training. But they knew it would be just a matter of time, and it was sooner rather than later. Base hit right field. They're going to wave around the runner. Here comes Brady's throw to the plate. Not nearly in time. And they have Wood caught in a rundown. Miller running back to Batista, who tags him out, and that'll end the inning. Well, the Cubs get 2 more runs, 3 hits, nobody left. Middle of the second inning, 3-0 Chicago.
You're Buck Showalter. So this is your autograph.
That's my signature, all right.
No way, man. It's your autograph. No way I'm gonna cash that.
I got Buck Showalter's autograph. I'm gonna be rich.
I got Buck Showalter's autograph. I'll never cash this.
Diamondbacks Banking, only from Bank One.
Here's my check, and it's signed.
It is easier to cash them that way.
Uh-oh.
There are a number of reasons why Infiniti i30 owners love their cars. For some, it's the rich, shiny look that comes from the 6-step paint process. For others, it's the custom-tailored 6-speaker Bose audio system. And for still others, it's the responsive 190 horsepower V6 engine. But perhaps the biggest reason people love their i30s so much is because it can all be enjoyed for under $31,000. Infiniti, the official luxury car of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
What's the one sure thing you can count on in Arizona? Great 99-cent deals at McDonald's all day, every day. For breakfast, get a 99-cent sausage McMuffin with egg sandwich. Fresh eggs, spicy sausage, and cheese on a toasted English muffin. Or after breakfast, get a 99-cent triple cheeseburger. 3 beef patties, 2 slices of cheese, onions, and pickles on a tasty bun. Great 99-cent deals all day, every day.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Time to take a look at our Q-Lube quiz. What is the record for the most strikeouts in consecutive games by a pitcher? We'll give you a moment or two to think about that. I mean, what the heck? If you were watching the game yesterday, we've already given you the answer, although we should clarify this question is being asked more in the modern day era. We gave you a name yesterday back to the 1880s. And while I guess technically that could be considered the record, when they talk about this particular record, it's more the modern day era. And you will recognize some of the names.
Of course, it could change within the next couple of hours.
Yeah.
If you saw the games on the road trip and the number of times the Diamondbacks hitters flailed away at would have to be considered mediocre pitching. We're facing a guy that likes to strike guys out.
3-0 ball game with the Cubs in front. Diamondbacks coming to bat here in the last of the second inning. We'll be sending up George Fabregas, Brent Brady, and Andy Fox. Fabregas at 237. Figured he would be a little tender today on that shoulder. There you get a look at the thumb of Matt Williams after taking the rocket off of the glove hand yesterday.
A ball hit by Doug Glanville really ate him up down at third base and hit him on the joint of the thumb, and apparently hit him so hard he had some swelling in the wrist today. Went for precautionary x-rays. It's just a very bad bruise and a bad sprain in that wrist area, but you don't need any handicaps when you're facing Kerry Wood, so wisely keeping him out of the lineup tonight.
0-2 to Fabregas. On the ground through the hole, base in right field. Second hit of the game for Arizona against Kerry Wood. DeLucci doubled to left back in the first inning. Well, we gave you a moment or two to think about our Q-Lube quiz, and the answer is the record for most strikeouts in consecutive games, 32. Held by, how about that quartet?
Tiant, Ryan, Gooden, and Johnson. And you can see what they did in consecutive games.
Line hard off the bat of Brady into deep left field, and Mieske is able to run it down. And Fabregas will have to touch second base again and come sprinting back into first. Few hard hit balls tonight early on against Kerry Wood.
Fabregas got his base hit on a breaking ball. It's like Brent Brady got a fastball up and out over the plate, goes with it to left field very hard. Chases Mieske all the way back to the wall in left field. Fabregas had rounded second base, as you mentioned, Tommy, and he had to retouch second on his way back to first. You can't just cut across the infield. You have to retouch a bag.
Guys have tried it.
Oh, yeah, they have. Yeah. Take the shortcut.
It's one of the great little things you see in a Little League game. I know you see at some of Michael's games every now and then. Kid will go all the way to third and then just race across the pitcher's mound.
If you can get away with it. But it's not legal.
Larry Walker did that in a minor league game.
You remember, Larry Walker didn't really have a baseball background. He was a hockey player up in Canada. He didn't know any better.
1-1 to Andy Fox.
Paint a couple blue lines out there for him to know what he was doing early in his career. He knows what he's doing now, though.
Yeah.
He's got it figured out.
One of my guys. Runner at first, one out. 3-0 Cubs lead in the second. And it's down low to Andy Fox. 2 balls and a strike. May not mean a whole lot having made just 5 starts in the major leagues, but Kerry Wood has made 3 starts during the day, and his earned run average is 1.9. He's made 2 starts at night, and his earned run average is over 8. So probably not a lot to read into that in such a short career, but nonetheless just worth noting. 2-2 now to Fox. Two and two to Fox with a runner Fabregas on at first. 1 out and the pitch. Good cut there and fouled it back.
I mentioned earlier that I thought David DeLucci was one of the guys in the lineup tonight that would have a pretty good shot against Kerry Wood. Andy Fox is another guy I felt would have a pretty good chance to hit because Fox works deep in the count. He's not afraid to take some pitches. We mentioned Kerry Wood occasionally will get wild. You can work deep in the count and get it into a situation where you know he's going to throw you a fastball. Becomes much easier to handle.
2 and 2 to Fox, and a little floater down the left field line. This will fall in for a hit. Fabregas will slam on the brakes at second. Falling down at first is Fox, and thankfully the throw doesn't go back that way.
Second baseman, number 10.
So the Diamondbacks with 3 hits against Kerry Wood.
Look at Andy Fox as he rounds first. He's thinking that George Fabregas is going to go to third base. He sees George stop. Andy has to hit the brakes and hustle back into first. I don't think Fabregas was really sure that ball was going to drop in initially. It wasn't hit very hard, just a little blooper out into shallow left field. And George erred on the side of caution right there.
Three 3-0 Cubs lead. Diamondbacks have 2 on with 1 out, and Tony Batista looks at a breaking ball, strike 1 on the outside corner. Batista, you see a 2-26 with a home run and 2 batted in. Swung on and fouled just above our booth.
I feel much more comfortable in this booth, Tom. I got to let you know, I think I can make the plays in this booth. I got more room to range around here.
Yeah, you do. We have a lot more room.
We were getting pelted on the road trip.
Yeah, but it's very hard to catch a ball you can't see, and you've been underneath the table every time one has come back. 0-2 to Batista. High. 1-2.
Well, that's like with the Secret Service. You know, when gunfire breaks out, the first thing they do is throw the president on the ground and jump on top of him.
Right.
When I see you on the ground, that's my first instinct is to cover up and make sure you're okay.
Right. I appreciate it. 1-2 to Batista. Oh, he hung one soft liner, and it's caught by Kevin Oren. And Tony liked to have that one back. 2 down in the inning.
Well, Wood's throwing a lot of breaking balls in the early going as George Fabregas is slow getting to his feet out there at second base. George had a rough road trip. Took a couple of foul balls in some very sensitive areas of his body. Took a foul tip off the collarbone yesterday. It was very late in batting practice today before they determined whether Fabregas would be able to go tonight. Kelly Stinnett was put on hold. But Showalter anxiously awaiting to see if George is going to be able to stay in this ball game. Limping appears to be on that right ankle. Paul Lassard, the Diamondbacks trainer, out there.
Well, if you're just joining us, Mark Grace hit a solo home run in the Cub first inning for a 1-0 lead. Hernandez opened a second with a triple. Ori doubled him in to make it 2-0. And then Kerry Wood, the pitcher, with a 2-out RBI single in the right field, made it 3-0. And that's where we stand with 2 on and 2 out here in the second inning. And Buck and Paul Lassard still checking over George Fabregas.
Well, the big concern here is if George Fabregas would lose a step or two, as if he did, he'd be going backwards. George's not the swiftest runner on the team. I think he's going to be all right. He was just in a hurry to get back to the bag. He knew there was a possibility to try to double him up and might have caught a cleat as he slid back into second base. He's going to be all right.
That coming from a guy who ran like you did, or you at least near the end. You ran well early on.
Yeah, but towards the end, I saw a scouting report one time, and it said Brenly runs like he's mad at the ground.
Right. All right, let's see if Brian Anderson can return the favor to Kerry Wood. Anderson 1 of 14 as a batter this season, and there's ball one low and away. One ball, one strike to Brian Anderson.
Well, Anderson would be well served if he did the same thing that Kerry Wood did to him. Just hit the ball to the opposite field. Get the bat on it, flip it out there into left field. Don't try to pull it.
Well, he helped Kerry Wood on that pitch right there, way up in the strike zone.
We've said it before, when you face a hard thrower, many times you have a tendency to try to swing as hard as he's throwing, and that's playing right into his hands.
The inning is over. Second strikeout of the night for Wood. D-backs lead 2. We go to the third. 3-0 Chicago.
No multi-million-dollar contracts. No victory laps. Not even a winner's circle. But if you think these weekend warriors who run the Score Desert Championship Series take anything for granted, think again. Which is exactly why they run with the Duralast battery from AutoZone. A battery so tough, so dependable, we back it with a 2-year free replacement guarantee. The next time you hit the road, don't settle for anything less.
The 24-ounce bottle from Pepsi. It's perfect for a lot of little thirsts. Or one great big thirst.
Uh-oh, not again. Hey, Shaq, thanks a lot.
Sorry.
The 24-ounce six-pack, only from Pepsi.
A little help, please. Somebody?
At APS, we've always understood the power of imagination. Who would have thought that electric cooking could be more efficient? That heat pumps could lower your cooling bills? That outdoor lighting could save you money, as well as something much more valuable? What's next? APS. The power to make it happen.
Well, let's find out what happened on this day in baseball, presented by the Team Shop. Sandy Koufax, one of the all-time flamethrowers, threw his second no-hitter of his career. Only struck out 4 in that no-hitter. And on this date in 1977, Ted Turner managed the Atlanta Braves.
One game.
Your guy.
No. Got a problem with a guy that names a field after himself.
That's Rupert Murdoch's guy.
Yeah, that's close. You know, a lot of people in Atlanta felt that the ballpark should be named Hank Aaron Stadium. I have to agree with that. Probably the greatest Brave ever, but Turner Field.
Manny Alexander to lead things off, and Brian Anderson delivers high. Alexander fly to Devon White in center field, leading off the ball game. 3 runs, 4 hits for Chicago. No runs, 3 hits for the Diamondbacks. 2-0.
Seeing that Sandy Koufax no-hitter up there on this day in baseball history reminds me of the story that I've told once already this year, but I think it bears repeating since our buddy Ron Santo's in town.
Ron now radio announcer with the Chicago Cubs.
They were very excited facing the Dodgers because they felt that they had stolen something in Sandy Koufax's delivery from the stretch. We've got all his pitches. When he gets into the stretch, we've got all his pitches. Problem was he threw a perfect game and they never got a runner on base.
That was the same game too, where Ron was the number 3 hitter in the lineup and Glenn Beckert was batting leadoff. And Ron was walking out of the dugout after Beckert had struck out, coming back to the dugout, and Beckert says to him, he doesn't have much today. Yeah. There's Ron Santo, our old buddy. 2-2. And inside, hopefully one day, and we've talked about it many times, Bobby, hopefully Ron Santo one day will find his place in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, there are only 7 third basemen in the Hall of Fame, and only 2 have better numbers than Ron Santo.
Right. Only 2 have more home runs and more runs batted in. And we've talked a lot about one of them over the weekend in Philadelphia, Mike Schmidt, and the other, the former Milwaukee star, Eddie Matthews. Boy, Santo's a beauty, isn't he?
I'm telling you what.
Oh, boy. You got to know him. He's something. High pop fly down the left field line. Bell calls off Fox. 1 away. And we had a fun time those couple of years where it was you, Mr. Santo, myself, broadcasting the ball games on radio.
Well, don't forget that other guy that was there for a few innings every day.
Oh, I know that. We miss him very, very much, Kerry. And the Cubs, you probably noticed already if you've seen them play on television this year. Maybe this is the first time tonight. They're wearing a patch over their right sleeve, commemorating and honoring and remembering the unbelievable Harry Kerry. We miss you very much, pal. Very, very much.
Well, it would have been great to hear Harry call that 20 strikeout game.
Oh, man.
Knowing how he gets wrapped up in the game, and especially when the Cubs are doing well, that would have been something to hear.
2-0 delivery. Outside to Matt Mieske. 3 balls, no strikes. 3-0 Cubs lead here in the third with 1 out and nobody on. The Cubs have already hit for the cycle in the game tonight. And Mieske on a 3-0 pitch. Flips about away after taking a cut. And Batista puts it away for out number 2.
First baseman,
Well, you see the hit leaders in the major leagues in the 1990s. The guy on top is no surprise, nor is the guy in second place. Mark Grace right there. I think a lot of people outside Chicago might be surprised at that, but Mark Grace, this guy's a hitting machine. Never wears batting gloves, never changes his approach up there at the plate, content to take his base hits and his doubles, although we've seen him go deep for the first time this season in the ball game tonight.
And the reason why, like those other guys, well, Gwynn especially being a left-handed hitter, is that Mark Grace is a career .298 batter against left-handed pitching. And as Bobby mentioned, the home run against a left-hander, Brian Anderson, already tonight.
He's a great situational hitter as well. If he has a runner on at first base and knows that first baseman is holding the runner, he'll try to hook a ball through that hole on the right side, much like Tony Gwynn does.
Out of there swinging, you rarely ever see Mark Grace strike out. 1, 2, 3 go the Cubs, middle of the third, 3-0 Chicago.
Who's gonna be there for you? Who's gonna help you find it? Who's gonna be the one you turn to when you're in doubt? It's to you I turn to when I need to learn to where to go in my hometown. Where to go in my home, I turn to you.
My associate has in his possession a piece of evidence that will prove once and for all that it was not my client that committed this crime, but that it was, in fact, someone else who happens to be sitting in this courtroom. A donut found at a scene of the crime with fingerprints all over it.
Fingerprints? Need somebody you can count on for a change? Depend on the certified technicians at Q-Lube. Count on it.
It's going to be 8 feet wide and 48 feet long. It's buckets of eggs, hundreds of pounds of flour and sugar and vanilla. Oh, it's a pretty big party, that's for sure. The cake is the size of a flatbed semi. This logo here in the middle is going to be about 6 feet long, 4 feet wide. I think the bikers appreciate all the detail that we put into the cake. It makes it all worth it when I see their faces.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is brought to you in part by Gila River Casino, AutoZone, and by Office Max. We are back at Bank One Ballpark, downtown Phoenix. Get a look at Friday's Front Row Grill. Come on down for lunch or dinner sometime, even if you're not going to the game. Devon White hits one down the right field line, and it's fouled out of play. And Devon White shatters the bat in half.
Well, that's some kindling right there. Fastball inside. Well, there was already cracked, so Devo just finished it off. Of course, Chili Davis does that with unbroken bats.
So did Bo Jackson.
I have a hard time breaking pencils up here in the booth.
Devo struck out against Kerry Wood in the first inning, and there's a fastball strike. 0-2 to White. Chili Davis, we just saw him not too long ago. Of course, he is a Valley resident, injured right now. Foul tipped into the mid of service. Third strikeout of the game for Kerry Wood. But Chili Davis can hit.
High fastball. You see Service just barely hangs on. A little snow cone on that foul tip into the glove of Scott Service. That high fastball. It's tough to catch up to a mediocre high fastball. When it's high 90s, it's almost impossible.
David DeLucci looks at a strike. DeLucci doubled down the left field line back in the first inning. A ball, a strike. Well, look what made it back. Score box back in there for you. Glad to have that up and running. Into left field again. Mieski drifting back and makes a play. 2 steps shy of the wall. DeLucci has hit the ball very hard twice tonight against Kerry Wood.
Mieski initially turns the wrong way on this ball, but he manages to keep his balance, change his path as he goes back to the wall, and makes the catch. Ball hit that way off the bat of a left-hander is almost always going to tail back towards the foul line. This time Mieski turned the wrong way, but was able to make the adjustment.
2 down. Jay Bell looks at a high fastball, tried to check his swing, couldn't hold off. 0-1. Bell lined out to the right fielder Sammy Sosa in the first inning. Wood was 3 strikeouts. If you're just tuning in, he hasn't walked anybody. Coming off the 20 strikeout record tying performance his last start against Houston. And he's a strike away from getting his 4th of the game. 20 years old is Kerry Wood. There's no telling, Bobby, how good he could be.
He's got very solid mechanics. Doesn't overextend himself. As I mentioned earlier, he doesn't really overthrow the ball. Stays, I hate this cliche, but it's true. He stays within himself, stays under control.
Check swing and a miss. 4th strikeout of the game for Wood. D-backs retired in order. Greg Schulte over in a moment. 3-0 Chicago.
We were never big sports fans. We'd follow the Suns, you know, watch the big games, playoffs.
But that's really changed. I mean, there's the new ballpark and the arena.
We're becoming sports fans. The more you know about the game, the more you want to know what's going on.
Right. That's why we like Cox Cable. I mean, they just have so many games, and there's so much more information, and they just have better coverage, don't you think?
Call Cox Communications today at 277-1000 and get free connection.
Okay, let's get back to hockey names.
Hobby Bullen?
Mm-hmm.
Kachuk.
Gesundheit.
Who's that?
That's right.
The Nissan pre-Memorial Day event is going strong, but only till May 18th. So now's the time to lease a luxurious Nissan Maxima GXE for $279 a month for 39 months with an initial payment of $14.99. So get down to your local Nissan retailer now and spend Memorial Day somewhere really exciting in that new Maxima you just leased for only $279 a month. The Nissan pre-Memorial Day event at your Nissan retailer only through May 18th.
Cubs with a 3-0 lead here at Bank One Ballpark. Kerry Wood has struck out 4 in the front 3 innings of play. Along with Bob Brentley, I'm Greg Schulte. It looks like he's just getting started, Bob.
I think so. As good as he was in that game against Houston last Wednesday, they said that during the course of the game, he actually got stronger as the ball game went on. And we saw in that last inning, much better command of his breaking ball. I don't know if this guy gets any better. They may just have to invent another league for him.
Well, he has been tough through the front 3 innings. Diamondbacks do have 3 hits in the ball game. That's only 1 less than Chicago, but the Cubs have scored 3 times, and the Cubs come to bat here. Sammy Sosa takes a strike, and we are underway here in the 4th. Sosa, Hernandez, and Ori for Chicago. Cubs started the night 2 games over the 500 mark, had a good series at home homestand, won 6 of 10. Big swing and a miss by Sosa, and it's 0-2.
Let's see what Sammy Sosa has done this season versus lefties and righties. Talking to Steve Stone, he said that he thinks a large part of the success that Sammy Sosa has had in the early going is the fact he's hitting the ball to right field. And the reason he's doing that, the Cubs have played 2 series against the San Diego Padres. And Sammy Sosa and Tony Gwynn sat down both times and talked about hitting at length. Sosa throughout his career has been a guy that tried to whirly bird and pull every pitch into the seats in left field. And Tony Gwynn just flatly told him there's a lot of base hits out there in right field and you're cheating yourself.
Sosa pulls that one foul. Well, on the road this season, Sosa's hitting .339. So he has done very well away from Wrigley, hitting .322 at home. There's Jimmy Riggleman, skipper. He was in his office about 2 o'clock. I went in there and sat down and had a nice conversation. Very nice man. And he's got his ball club playing some good baseball in the NL Central. Off the end of the bat right at Travis Lee. He'll take it to the bag. Do we have 2 good fielding first basemen in this ball game, Mr. Brennan, or what?
Well, we have one that's been a great fielding first baseman rather in this league for a long time, and perhaps the heir apparent defensively at first base in Travis Lee. Mark Grace is as good as I've seen over there. Keith Hernandez maybe a little better, but Mark Grace not far behind.
Travis takes care of Sosa. 1 out here. That's a big man to keep off the bases because Sosa is the leading base stealer on this Cubs club. Here's a guy who can play anywhere, anytime, anyway. Jose Hernandez started the day at center field, but when Blauser had the shoulder problem, he ends up at shortstop. 1-1 the count. What do you think of this Cubs ball club? 19-17. And we don't even have Morandini in there tonight. Blauser's out of there. Hernan Rodriguez is out of there.
Got a pretty nice starting rotation. Very nice balance out of the bullpen. And Rod Beck is having a surprise year. I think a lot of people thought Rod Beck was done, and I think perhaps his best years are behind him, but nonetheless he's getting it done. He's a crafty pitcher. He's got 4 good pitches that he can use, and yeah, the Cubs are just glad they're off to a better start this year than last year.
Any start this year was better than last year. You know, the amazing thing about Beck, Bob, he's only 29 years old. He won't be 30 until early August. It seems like he's been around for about 20 years already.
I was talking to him before the ball game about the velocity that he supposedly lost in his delivery, and of course he's one of the relievers that always pitched out of the stretch, and he has gone back to the windup now, and he's gained, he said, 2 to 3 miles an hour on his fastball from pitching out of the windup. So Perhaps there was a reason why he lost velocity on his fastball.
You know, all those years in a Giants uniform, seeing him now in a Cubs uniform in that cap, it looks a little strange.
It takes a while when you go from a new team, from one team to a new team. It takes a while to get used to those different colors.
Anderson gets a strikeout, his second of the ball game, and he has now set down the last 5 men in a row. A little high heat on this one.
Yeah, Anderson working a little high gas of his own right here. That's Kerry Wood's claim to fame.
Kevin Ory doubled off that overhang in center field his first time up. He'll step in now. He has not been swinging the bat well. He had 3 hits in the ball game the other day and against San Francisco. I know Jeff Pentland, the hitting coach, had to be pleased with what he saw on Ory's first at bat tonight. The RBI for Ory, his 15th of the season. 1-1 now. Boy, is it good to be home, or is it good to be home?
Oh, man. It's good to be home, to answer your question.
Popped up on the infield. Travis Lee calls for it. And that's it. Cubs down in order, second straight inning. We go to the bottom of the 4th here at Bank One Ballpark. 3-0 Cubs.
Sports fans, to another edition of Diamondbacks Baseball. Official beer sponsor of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Look, can't you be more efficient? Just keep it simple, okay?
Relax, pal. You're making me nervous. You need Office Max, the office product superstore with guaranteed low prices on over 7,000 office products.
Folks, we'll be delayed till storms in the Chicago.
Don't sweat it, pal. You can save time and money at Office Max. Plus, Office Max always gives you a 155% low price guarantee on every item, every day. Hey, are you gonna eat those? Office Max. We go to the max for you.
115 miles an hour.
Any weaknesses?
Seems you can't pitch in the cold.
I'll be right back. How much to lower the temperature 40 degrees?
40?
Need money fast? Call Bank One Loan by phone.
Bank One?
Decisions before you hang up.
Great. Do it.
You are a great manager.